guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to be doing my February wrap up. So I actually had a much better reading month of February compared to January, which was so bad. I only read 4 books in January, but February I read a total of 6 books. And it was such a fun month because to read a lot of ARCs, which is so exciting. If you don't know what ARC is basically an advanced reader's copy. You basically get to read the book before the release date. You help the author kind of promote the book, you write a review, you do some content. It's actually so much fun. I'm so grateful for every ARC that I got last month. I read a lot on my Kindle. I only read 1 physical book. Let's get into the video and talk about the books that I read because it's so exciting. I'm going to start with the physical books. I only did read 1 physical book, and that was Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. I did make a reading vlog for this book when I read it, so if you want to go watch that, I'll leave the link below for you to go see my reading vlog. But I will say that this was such a fun romantasy book. It's dark, it's gothic, has a little bit of horror elements. It's generally such a good time. I had kind of low expectations going to this book because this book is really hyped on Book Talk, on Bookstagram, and again, there's nothing wrong with a hyped book. I know I do get a little bit like it's really hyped up, like is it worth the read? But honestly, this one was worth the read. We follow 2 sisters, Ophelia and Genevieve, and they come from a necromancer family, and Ophelia has inherited her mom's powers, her family legacy, after her mom was found dead. And this all happens in the first chapter, so it's like no spoilers. And basically, we have Phantasma. And Phantasma is a deadly competition that takes place in different cities. And this year, it takes place in New Orleans, which is where Ophelia and Genevieve are from. And I just want to say, I absolutely loved the New Orleans setting because I've always wanted to go to New Orleans. Ever since I watched The Vampire Diaries and the originals, I've been obsessed with New Orleans and wanted to go to Bourbon Street, experience that. Also, American Horror Story, The Coven. A season, I'm absolutely obsessed. That's my favorite season of American Horror Story. So I was very excited to be in New Orleans for this book. And basically, Ophelia enters Phantasma, this deadly competition, in order to find her sister who is trying to save their family home. And so much happens in this book. Honestly, I feel like when it comes to deadly competitions are kind of repetitive, especially in fantasy books. There's nothing new, but this book had a lot of creativity. The games and the competition were really unique and fun, exciting and scary at the same time. I thought the author did such a great job bringing the competition to life. It felt like I was there and it was really a horrible time. So our main character, Ophelia, has OCD, and I absolutely adored the OCD representation in this book. I thought it was so well done. I will describe this book as like Caraval, I would say this book really reminded me of Caraval, but like a more dark.
Nice.
but a more dark and gothic version of Caraval. And honestly, Ophelia and Genevieve really reminded me of Scarlet and Donatella. Their vibes, their sister kind of bonding. Then we have the love interest, and the love interest is Blackwell, and Blackwell is a phantom. I really love that aspect of having like a ghost boyfriend in the deadly competition. That was so interesting and fun. This book is just such a fun time. Like there was never a dull moment where I was like, oh, this is dragging. Like I binge read this book. When I reached like 40%, I literally finished the rest in like 1 day. I was obsessed with this book. I could not put it down. I will say the only critique I have is the ending. I did not enjoy the ending. The ending was really overwhelming and anticlimactic because so much was happening in such a short period of time. I was like, oh my god, like how are we gonna finish this whole book in 20 pages? And the author did, but I just feel like it felt very rushed and sloppy. I ended up giving it 4 stars just because the ending was terrible in my opinion. But I really love this book overall. I love like 90% of this book, and then the last 10% was like I wish I could just cut it out, chop it off, never thinking about it again because I absolutely hated it. But honestly, I still think this is an amazing book. I still think this is worth the hype. If you want a book that will get you out of your slump, if you want a book that is fast-paced, addictive, very entertaining, it doesn't take much brain power to understand, you will love this book. And the cover is absolutely stunning. I will read anything with a skull on it. The next book I want to talk about are my ARCs. So I did get a total of 4 ARCs in in February. So I'm going to start with the one that literally changed my life, gave me a reason to keep on going and keep on living. And I'm going to give that thank you to BK Borson for First Time Caller. This book rewired my brain. It brought me back to life. I felt like I put on a new set of eyeballs, gave me like a new version of the world because I felt so renewed. So in First Time Caller, we follow Lucy's road to love. And honestly, this was a perfect book to read for Valentine's Day. So we follow Lucy, and Lucy is a hopeless romantic, but she cannot find her soulmate, her one true love. If you're a huge fan of 90s movies, Meg Ryan, Sleepless in Seattle, you'll definitely love First Time Caller. So her daughter calls into a radio show, and also we have Aiden, who is a love interest, and Aiden kind of picks up the phone, and he is the star of like this romance radio show, kind of giving love advice. Lucy's daughter kind of signs her up onto this show to kind of give her love advice to help her find her one true love. And this is where kind of everything starts, where we have the radio show meet cute between Aiden and Lucy just trying to find love through this radio show. Lucy and Aiden's romance story is an absolute gem. It's heartwarming, it's sweet, it's funny, it's flirty, the banter is amazing and so sweet. Aiden is the love of my life. He is like this grumpy radio host, but he does not believe in love. He is emotionally unavailable. Absolutely adored Aiden. He literally broke my soul. He was so cute, he was so amazing. I loved him so much. He's definitely one of my book boyfriends. He's a perfect mix of like grumpy but also a yearner. He yearns for Lucy so bad. When you read his point of view in this book, he had me in such a chokehold. I was literally crying at every page. I have Lucy, and I loved Lucy so much. All her feelings and thoughts, I feel like the author was reading my mind. Everything that Lucy was thinking and saying was literally everything that I have thought in my life. I like felt seen, even though me and Lucy have completely different lives. What I loved so much about this book was the found family aspect. So we have Lucy and we have her daughter, and then we have Lucy's baby daddy and his husband, and their dynamic is so cute. They live next door to each other, and the way they share custody of their kid and their dynamic together was so wholesome. It's just the easiest 5 stars I could give. Honestly, it was a 6 stars. I would take this book with me to my grave. First of all, the cover is absolutely stunning, and I cannot wait to go buy it because I have yet to buy it, but I'm so thankful I got the ARC from Berkeley Romance and from NetGalley. Chemistry between Lucy and Aiden, just, you'll never stop smiling. It will smile so much your face will hurt. The scene where Lucy gets stood up from her date and he comes running to her to the restaurant, and they have a little fun date themselves at this bar, and they play skee ball and they dance to the thong song, and it was the most perfect thing I've ever read. The way that Aiden loved Lucy, his protectiveness over her, the way he yearned for her literally killed me inside. It was just so perfect. He is the most perfect man. He wears a gold chain, and when you find out the reason he wears a gold chain, literally I want to cry and die. And it makes me so sad that he's not real, because a man will never act like this in real life. And it makes me so sad because, like, where are the men who act like Aiden Valentine? They're nowhere, because all men are trash. But anyway, please read this. The next arc I got, I was so thankful to receive a free copy of Rebel Witch. Rebel Witch is a sequel to Heartless Hunter. So I absolutely loved Heartless Hunter when I read it in January. If you want a book with true enemies to lovers, like they really hate each other and they want to kill each other, you have to read this duet. The Crimson Moth duet will not let you down. It is so much fun. I absolutely adored these books. So I don't want to say too much because The Rebel Witch is the sequel to Heartless Hunter. So I'm going to talk more about Heartless Hunter. So Heartless Hunter follows Rune Winters, and she's a witch living in a world where witches get purged and killed. So she has to kind of go undercover and pretend to be a normal human being while also trying to save her kind from being killed. So then we have Gideon. Gideon Sharp is a soldier in the army that purges witches. So he absolutely hates witches, and Rune and Gideon end up in a courting, fake dating kind of situation. Gideon is on a mission to find the Crimson Moth, but guess who's the Crimson Moth? Rune. And Rune wants information on how much they know about the Crimson Moth, so she starts dating Gideon. So they both have ulterior motives on why they're together. It is so good. It is so entertaining. I absolutely love the characters. I had the best time reading it. So when I picked up Rebel Witch, we are left in a cliffhanger in Heartless Hunter. From the start, there is so much action. There is never a dull moment when reading this sequel. I literally fell back in love with Gideon and Rune, and I love watching them, their banter, the way they interact with each other, their fights are amazing and intense. I honestly never wanted Rebel Witch to end because I didn't want to leave this world and its characters. This book is just 5 stars, no notes. There's nothing that I would change about this book. I am so down bad for Rune Winters and Gideon Sharp. They are literally part of my personality now. I love them so much. It is a very slow burn romance, which makes it 100 times better and so much more intense. I feel like the author, Kristen Ciccarelli, does such an amazing job of expanding this world from Heartless Hunter, because I feel like in Heartless Hunter we don't know much about the witch world, and Rebel Witch really explains everything, that kind of like how witches have powers, the ancients. Author's writing got so much better in Rebel Witch. Fast-paced, it's addictive, packed with so much action and scheming, and Rune is my girl. I absolutely loved Rune. She is up there with Stevie Nicks and Fiona from Coven and American Horror Story. She's one of my favorite witches of all time. I think her development in Rebel Witch was phenomenal. Been through so much trauma and pain, and seeing her rise up from this trauma was so good. She's so brave, she's so courageous, she's so witty and funny. I absolutely adored her character. Gideon, he's hot, he is protective, he is just stoic and kind of grumpy, but the way he plays with Rune, it's just so hot. It was so hot. I absolutely fell in love with him in this book. He's definitely on my book boyfriends list. I just love his character. I had a very complicated relationship with Gideon. I loved him, then I hated him. In Heartless Hunter, at the end of the book, I hated him. But in Rebel Witch, I fell completely head over heels in love with Gideon Sharp. Rune and Gideon had so many amazing moments together. I was literally blushing and giggling the whole time. I'm actually so sad that this is only 2 books and this is the end of being in this world. Next arc I got was, I love Kai Stevens. So Kai Stevens writes a ton of college sports romance. I think her books have amazing representation. All her characters are never the same. Everyone is just so unique. All these characters have their own unique storylines. Her romances never are not cute and adorable and warm my heart. So I was so happy to receive an arc for High Hopes. So this is the 3rd book in her Coastal Rivals series, and I've read all of them and I absolutely adored these books. So all I have to say about this book is absolutely adorable. Adorable. We follow Birdie, and Birdie is an art major. She does what's it called? Pottery. She's a pottery art major, ceramics girl. All she wants is a scholarship. I've never read a more wholesome book in my life. They'll just make you genuinely happy inside. Birdie holds the weight of the world on her shoulders. She is suffering from PTSD and anxiety because of a car accident. Kind of has like this survivor's guilt inside of her and this constant state of anxiety. What happens is that we have Liam. So obviously Liam literally comes crashing into her life, and not even in a figurative way. Literally, when she was doing some pottery in her art studio, he literally kicks a soccer ball through the window, and that's how they meet. And he is like this crazy loudmouth, he lover boy, but he also has his own insecurities because he always feels his family and his parents make him feel like he's too much, like he's too loud, he doesn't see the right thing. I always love friends to lovers trope, and this is a very slow burn romance too, because they kind of start off as strangers to friends to lovers, and I love seeing them as friends. Their bond was so easy and cute, the way they reassured each other. And there's a scene where Birdie has a migraine attack, and the way he takes care of her was so cute. Like, I literally, the characters are so feel good and make you feel so warm and gooey inside. Kai Stevens just knows how to write the most lovable, wholesome romance books with book boyfriends that will never disappoint you. I feel like Liam is definitely one of my favorite male characters that the author has ever written. He's just so goofy and fun, but also so sweet. He's basically a cinnamon roll golden retriever, so adorable, such a lover boy. I feel like, again, men like this do not exist. I have seen a man that is written by a woman. I really love how, yes, Birdie kind of had like a black cat side to her, but underneath she's just such a layered character, because underneath she was so soft and she was so gentle and loving, and I really just loved her character so much. I also love the way Kai Stevens writes neurodivergent characters. Most of her characters are neurodivergent, which I absolutely love. So Liam, he has a sensitivity to loud noises. He gets very overwhelmed in large crowds. He kind of fumbles his way through conversations. He either overtalks and says too much, and he just becomes overall too much. And his parents are always kind of trying to like smush him down, dull his spark basically. I just thought he was the sweetest, most cutie pie on the planet. So please read High Hopes. You will not be disappointed. And I feel like I have not been saying the rating, so I give High Hopes 4 stars. I gave Rebel Witch 5 stars. And now let's talk about my last arc that I got. So last arc I got was Spring Awakening. So I found this author on Instagram. I also loved the content that she was giving for her new releases and her books. So I became very intrigued and I applied for the arc of Spring Awakening and absolutely loved this book. First of all, let's take a moment to appreciate the cover, because I think the cover is what completely drew me in. It's absolutely stunning, beautiful, chef's kiss. I have absolutely adored it. So this book is a sports workplace romance. It is a rugby romance. I have never read a rugby romance, but I feel like it's good to branch out into new things. So I was so excited to read a rugby romance for the first time. We follow Mally, works in the PR department of the sports team, and the sports team is the team that she kind of grew up with her family. Her family are huge fans of the sports team in her city. And then we follow Zach, and Zach is a rugby player on this team, and the team is kind of blowing up. It's kind of getting more seen by, I guess, like leagues. First of all, their meet cute was so good, because basically Zach, every time he looks at Mally, his brain literally shuts off. He has no thoughts. He doesn't know what to say. And I loved that aspect of the book, that like he literally just could not even think around her basically. This book is a friends to lovers romance. It's forced proximity. They become roommates in this book. It's also slow burn romance. And the thing is, I have a love-hate relationship with slow burns. Sometimes I really love slow burns, but then sometimes I just love the characters so much. I just want them to get together, and it's just taking them so long to get together. I'm like pulling my hair like, oh my god, just be together, love each other, give me something. Because like, what do you mean? What do you mean you give me forehead kisses, but we're just friends? Like, what? Anyway, I just love this romance so much. Mally is our sunshine girl, and she does keep Zach in check. She's not afraid to just put him in line, which I absolutely loved her for. And I loved her little colorful wigs. They were so good. And I also love Zach. Zach is like, he is a teddy bear. He's a teddy bear, but his teddy bearness is locked up into a little shell. A cocky little shell, a little hard shell. And I love seeing Mally just crack that shell off. And I really love the representation, because his mom does have Alzheimer's. Their interactions broke my heart, but I just loved the whole representation of his mom having Alzheimer's. I loved them together. My camera is dying, so I'm gonna kind of keep this short and sweet because I still have one more book to talk about. But anyway, this book was fabulous. If you love friends to lovers slow burn, you'll definitely love this book. And then the last book I read was a thriller by Frida McFadden, obviously, and it is The Crash. This one is her newest release, so I had to read it, because even though Frida McFadden has been letting me down recently, I still had high hopes for The Crash. This book was crazy in the best way possible. So we follow our main character, and she is pregnant, going to go visit her brother, and she needs to escape her life because it's gotten too much, and you find out why her life is the way it is. It's actually very sad and scary. And she ends up kind of going to go drive in the blizzard to go visit her brother, who's a ski resort instructor, and she ends up crashing into a tree, and this big hulking man comes rescue her to his house because of the blizzard, and she ends up kind of locked in their basement. So we follow Polly, who is the kidnapper and the one holding the girl hostage, and we have Tegan, who's a poor pregnant girl being held hostage. Follow both perspectives. And honestly, the audiobook was so good. It was very entertaining. I could not stop listening. I thought it was so much fun and intense, but I will say I hated how Tegan kept referring to her baby as Little Tuna. It got so annoying. It was just as annoying as the coworker being obsessed with turtles. The obsession with turtles and the obsession with tuna, it was just too much for me. I absolutely hated it. It made me cringe. But overall, this book was very intense. Honestly, it was a great audiobook. If you want an audiobook that kind of just something fun for do chores around the house with, I would recommend The Crash. The writing did get quite repetitive towards the end of the book, but I did like the plot twist. It was predictable. I saw it coming, but honestly, I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed how unhinged and crazy Polly was. I felt really bad for Tegan. I feel like Tegan made really dumb decisions. I just was like, girl, what are you doing? Why would you willingly go into someone's basement? If some random person was like, go into my basement, why would you willingly go into the basement? I'd be like, no. Like, I don't know. I feel like she should have tried to escape harder, but she didn't. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, this is like, you're literally letting yourself get kidnapped and held hostage. But anyway, other than that, I thought it was such a fun, intense read. And honestly, it got my heart pumping. It gave me anxiety and heart palpitations because at the beginning I was freaking out for Tegan. But anyway, it's a really fun audiobook to do. So I gave it 4 stars. This is the end of my video. I read a total of 6 books in February. All of them were pretty amazing. My all-time favorite book of February was First Time Caller. Any of these books interest you, please put them on your TBR. Please read them. If you have read them, please tell me down below in the comment section what your thoughts were on these books that I've read. I love talking to you guys about books. So yeah, thank you guys for watching my video. Till next time, bye guys!